Have you ever heard a sound in the woods so strange, so unsettling, that it made the hair on the back of your neck stand up? Imagine walking through a dense forest, the only sounds being the crunch of leaves under your feet and the distant call of a bird. Suddenly, a high-pitched, childlike voice calls out. It sounds like a baby crying, but something is off. This is the chilling reality for many who claim to have encountered the Baby Bigfoot phenomenon. Today, we're re-diving deep into one of the most compelling and controversial pieces of evidence in the world of cryptozoology. The Baby Bigfoot voice. Mimic. What is it? Where did it come from? And what could possibly be making that sound? The story that truly brought this phenomenon into the spotlight comes from the Sierra Nevada mountains, a known hotspot for Sasquatch sightings. A group of experienced researchers, part of the Sierra Sounds Project, were deep in the wilderness in the early 1970s. For years, Al Berry and Ron Moorhead had been venturing into this remote location, attempting to record evidence of the elusive creature. They had already captured a collection of bizarre vocalizations, grunts, howls, and a strange form of chatter that didn't match any known animal. But one night, they recorded something truly unique and deeply disturbing. They heard what sounded like a baby crying or babbling. At first, they might have thought a human was in distress, but the location was incredibly remote, miles from any trail or campsite. As they listened, the baby sounds were joined by the now familiar guttural grunts and whoops of what they believed to be adult Sasquatches. It seemed as if they were eavesdropping on a family conversation. The most unsettling part, the baby talk wasn't just random cries. It seemed to mimic human speech patterns, almost as if it were trying to communicate or imitate sounds it had heard before. This specific recording, often referred to as the baby, has been analyzed by countless experts over the decades. Linguists, audio engineers, and primatologists have all weighed in, and the consensus is, well, there is no consensus. That's what makes it so fascinating. Some audio experts have concluded that the sounds are not fabricated. They've run the recordings through spectrographic analysis and found that the frequency, pitch, and modulation are incredibly complex, far beyond what a human could easily replicate, especially with the technology available in the 70s. The vocal range displayed in the recordings is staggering, shifting from deep, powerful gutturals to incredibly high-pitched whistles in a fraction of a second. One of the leading theories is that this is a genuine vocalization from a young Sasquatch. Proponents of this idea suggest that, just like human babies, young Sasquatches learn to vocalize by listening to and mimicking their parents and their environment. This could explain the strange, speech-like cadence in the recordings. Perhaps these creatures are far more intelligent and social than we imagine, with a complex family structure and a developing form of language. If an adult Sasquatch can produce the famous samurai chatter, a rapid-fire series of clicks and whoops, it stands to reason their young would start with simpler, more experimental sounds. But let's play devil's advocate. What else could it be? The most common skeptical explanation is, of course, a hoax. Could Ron Moorhead and Al Berry have faked these recordings? It's a possibility we have to consider. However, creating such a layered and complex audio hoax in the 1970s, in the middle of the wilderness, would have been an incredible feat. They would have needed multiple actors with extraordinary vocal talents and sophisticated recording equipment to mix the sounds on site without any digital editing software. Furthermore, Moorhead and Berry have always stood by their story, maintaining their integrity for 50 years. They seem genuinely convinced of what they heard. Another skeptical theory points to known animals. Could it be a known creature making an unusual sound? Certain animals are incredible mimics. The lyrebird in Australia, for instance, can imitate chainsaws, camera shutters, and other bird calls flawlessly. In North America, birds like the northern mockingbird or the gray catbird are known for their mimicry. Wildlife biologists who have listened to the Sierra Sounds recordings generally agree that the vocalizations do match any known North American animal. The sheer power and lung capacity required for the deeper grunts, combined with the high-frequency baby-like sounds, just don't fit the profile of a bear, a cougar, or even a clever bird. A bear cub in distress can sound surprisingly human. But the context of the other sounds in the recording makes this explanation less likely from any reason. So, this brings us back to the core of the mystery. The mimicry. Why would a creature, especially a young one, mimic a human baby? One chilling theory is that it's a luring tactic. In folklore from around the world, there are tales of forest spirits or monsters that mimic the sound of a crying baby to lure unsuspecting humans into the woods. Could this be a real-life predatory behavior? Imagine a protective parent hearing what they think is an abandoned infant, only to be ambushed by a massive, powerful creature. It's a terrifying thought, but it would be a highly effective, if sinister, hunting strategy. This would suggest a level of intelligence and cunning that is truly frightening. However, a more benign explanation is simple curiosity. Primates are known for their intelligence and their ability to mimic. Chimpanzees and gorillas in captivity have learned sign language and can understand human speech to a degree. If Sasquatch is a type of undiscovered primate, it's plausible that it would be curious about the strange, two-legged creatures encroaching on its territory. A young, inquisitive Sasquatch might hear human hikers or campers and try to imitate the sounds they make, just as a parrot might mimic a telephone ringing. The baby talk could be its attempt to replicate the pitch and rhythm of human conversation, filtered through its own unique vocal structure. The Sierra Sounds recordings remain one of the most compelling pieces of potential evidence for the existence of Bigfoot. They haven't been definitively debunked, and they haven't been definitively proven. They exist in that fascinating gray area where belief, skepticism, and scientific inquiry collide. The baby recording, in particular, captures our imagination because it adds a layer of complexity to the Bigfoot legend. It transforms the creature from a solitary, lumbering beast into a potentially social animal with family units, language, and a level of intelligence that we are only beginning to comprehend. What do you think? Are you hearing the genuine sounds of a young, unknown primate learning to communicate? Is it a clever hoax that has managed to fool experts for half a century? Or is it a known animal making a sound that we simply don't recognize? The woods hold many secrets, and sometimes those secrets can sound an awful lot like a baby crying in the dark. The search for answers continues, fueled by tantalizing clues like this one. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the mystery of the Baby Bigfoot mimic. If you found this fascinating, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the unknown. And I'd love to hear your theories in the comments below. Until next time, keep looking and keep listening. You never know what you might hear.